A lot of talk on Twitter about the failure of FTX. Our next guest says the collapse resembles an old-fashioned bank run and crypto needs an FDIC-like protocol in times of liquidity crises. Joining us now with more is Adam Hofmann. He's the founder and CEO of Nimble, a decentralized insurance protocol. Adam, good morning. So thank you for writing this article. It's on CoinDesk.com right now. One of the questions you ask right there is, how does the FTX fallout resemble the history of bank runs? So let's start there.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. It's funny because we use the term bank run so just like we just use it all the time, right? It's just a normal thing we hear, unfortunately. And for me, it was taking a break to kind of step back and think about what that term means, and that it actually happened with banks. The Great Depression and the idea that the US dollar, there was changes in the economy and there wasn't really confidence in it. So, we ran to the bank to take our money out, and there wasn't any money there to take out because of the way the banks had handled reserves. And it's just kind of like a pause long enough to talk about what that means and how that was solved in history, and how maybe we can leverage that knowledge and experience to make, blockchain, decentralized, technology, all of these things, crypto, safer and more equitable for everybody.
Except, Adam, this is the part I'm having a tough time with, and that's this: when Bitcoin was started, right? It was started on the heels of this financial crisis, although it probably developed a little bit before. Nonetheless, the big selling point was this was an alternative to the financial system. When we look at why the FDIC had to be created and why we had government interference, it ultimately is that the government printed the dollars, the government controlled the currency, the government in many ways was in charge of that US dollar and tried to keep the economy going based on the US dollar. The selling point of crypto is that everything is decentralized. And if everything's decentralized, this was a revolt against centralized currency. Therefore, why should things like Bitcoin, ETH, whatever, all crypto, resemble centralized currencies? What's the point then of having decentralized money if it's just going to resemble the protections and all these things that we ultimately saw in the 2008 financial crisis, where you had QE, you had all these things involved with central banks printing money, you had everybody going in and spending money. Why do this?
I don't think we should do it as a centralized way at all. I agree with you. I think that when we think about decentralization and getting away from the current or the, historical context of money, right? I think that what we often forget is that the economies of currency only work when people have confidence in it. So if we're looking for mass adoption in a technology like blockchain technology and crypto, and we want to kind of have that burden of insecurity carried by the users, that doesn't make sense. I think a FDIC-like system can be created in a decentralized way, where it can be all kinds of different protocols, projects, DEXs, whatever it may be, contribute to that similarly to how the FDIC does, but not controlled by one party, not controlled by one government. It's more the concept that I look at. It's more the high level view of what do we need to make people feel safe.
The FDIC is a U.S. government corporation that is basically protecting customer deposits through their own centralized insurance, you say. So how would it be created and applied in a decentralized world?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the points that's important is you think about prior to the FDIC, there were 4,000 plus bank failures, right? And after FDIC, the years following that, there were 9. So one of the points that I make in this article is that not only are you and I protected if we put our money in a central bank, right? Where our deposits are protected. It also protected the banks. And that wasn't really the intent. But banks, same with anything decentralized, if there's no trust, there's the use isn't there. And then, we have these issues. I personally believe in decentralization, and I believe that the only way for it to work is with mass adoption and for people to feel safe using it. So you could take any number of protocols and use the same theory that they take 2 basis points of however much money I'm staking or anyone is staking into their protocol, and that money goes to a decentralized risk pool just like we have now across anything, any kind of platform, whatever blockchain layer we're on. And that can be held and used in the event of, let's just say, FTX, right? There's a collapse, everyone goes to get their money back and they're, make withdrawals and they can't. But if that pool is set up, then they have guarantee of a certain level, right? Like, let's pick any number, 10,000, 50,000, whatever. They at least know that in the event someone that you thought you trusted makes horrible decisions, you at least have some protection to get that back.
Why not just buy puts? I mean, in many ways, you have a derivatives market which essentially does that. Is insurance. I mean, that's the whole idea behind options. Is it's a form of insurance. Why not have a more liquid insurance market, or just create a more liquid insurance market that people would do that with, versus something where people are maybe get a little bit of their money skimmed?
Well, none of the users should get their money skimmed. That's the whole point. I think the idea of puts and options is, again, saying to someone who the technology, I firmly believe in it, and I believe that it can't work unless there's, again, mass adoption. If we keep saying in this space, well, what about puts? What about options? We're basically expecting everyone to get up to that level of, I don't want to say sophistication, but that level of knowledge where they can do that. The reason insurance, as messy and yucky as it is in the traditional space right now, the reason it's so valuable is because you can't expect everyone to participate at that level. They may just want to go on and, put some money in to make 5%, 10%, whatever, and they don't know how to make all these trades and farms and options and puts and all these things. There has to be a level of simplicity to what we're doing.
But how would the security work on that? How would the, if you do need to pull out of that pool?
I mean, this is something that not one person can do, right? Like, not one company, not one developer, nothing. But I do think that we see what's happening in this space, and it's go find money here to set up a recovery fund or buy this company when it's failing. That same amount of resources and just creativity could be used to build something that does work. And you could hold those funds in cold storage. You could hold them however. And again, I'm just talking theories. For me, I'm a theories person. I believe in what we're all building here, and I just think that it takes a little bit of a pause. I think we reject a lot of traditional practices because of the pain they've caused, but we don't think about the original intent of them. And I think that's what's important here, is to say, how can we all put our heads together and make a system so that it isn't just the three of us and then everyone who listens to CoinDesk, saying, oh, we can solve this the ways we know how, but all the billions of people who aren't on using this technology yet. That's the future of the technology. We have to give them some security.